Our guest today is a powerhouse singer songwriter with a 5 octave vocal range who placed third in season 22 of The Voice. We are thrilled to have her as our guest today. I'd like to welcome Morgan Myles to Sidewalks. Morgan, it's just so great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me about where you're from originally and how you got started in music.
I'm originally from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, home of Little League Baseball. And I don't have anybody musical in my family, to be honest. I think cheesy. Music chose me when I was like really little. I sat down at the piano and started playing. My mom was like, "Is this like this feels sounds good to me?" So I ended up starting to take piano lessons at 5, and my mom actually took them with me because I was too young to start for that teacher. And yeah, the rest is history. I just always had this, passion and love for it. And it's really honestly dictated my entire life.
Well, you placed third in season 22 of The Voice. What made you want to try out for this singing competition?
I think for a lot of contestants, they're just trying to figure out the game of the music industry and how to get their start. For me, it was a ton of trials and tribulations of this business. I had been in Nashville at that point 17 years and been through so many ups and downs. I had just gotten through a terrible management situation. I had a booking agent totally, well, at that point, steal money from fans in 2021 in my name, and people were like zelling her directly. And then I also just had like the pandemic issue, and I thought to myself, okay, what do I have to lose? And I thought, well, I can just take this day by day and figure out if this is something good for me or not. And it honestly ended up being a really great thing for me. It took pretty much a year of my life, but I wanted to make it to the end. I just didn't want to win. And so everything that I wanted to gain from that platform absolutely happened. So I'm glad I took it and I did it, but I never thought I would ever go on a reality show. But it was good for me. I feel like I got my story out in a very big way and gained a lot of new listeners, and that was the goal.
Well, you had an immediate four-chair turn with your audition singing Hallelujah by the great Leonard Cohen. Did that shock you? Or did you know the moment you opened your mouth and it started to come out like, I've got this?
No, I mean, I don't know if anything can prepare you for that stress. I mean, you're already there for weeks, and it's don't mess up this 90 seconds. And for me, again, because I'd been doing this for a while, I was a full time touring musician already, and just didn't have my break, and so like I had a lot to prove. Like I needed that validation, and apparently, according to my label president, he said that I am still the fastest four-chair turn in voice history. And I'm like, cool. That's really cool. But yeah, I mean, once Camila turned in 5 seconds and Gwen did too, it was like, okay, now I can just focus on that light that's in the distance and deliver like what I'm trying to say in this quick 90 seconds. And I also didn't know that it was going to be 90 seconds. They let me play the song that I really wanted because originally it wasn't on the list, but it was my audition tape. And they were like, any songs you want to play, just write them here and maybe we can get the licensing. I was like, hallelujah. And then when I got to LA, I was like, wait, 90 seconds? Oh no, that's like not enough. It's a slow, slow song. So I really had to play around with my rendition to figure out how to make it dynamic in that short of time. But I was just really, really happy that the reaction that America loved it to that and they connected with me in that quick of time. So again, the show was really, really good to me. And I got to be like the premiere and the leak. And so that was a stressful moment. Oh my Lord, your family is at another hotel and they've been cooped up and you're just like, there's a lot going on mentally. You're just like, this is so
Right.
stressful.
I was watching some of your performances that were posted online, and by the way, they were amazing. The
Oh, thank
fans had so much love for you, and I wanted just to share a few of the comments. One
Oh,
person said, "She should have won The Voice, so much better than the one who did."
oh,
Another one said, "Her talents are beyond this competition. Loved all of her performances. She will be a superstar." This one said, "The real winner." And then this was my favorite. It just simply said, "Queen."
oh.
Isn't that I thought that was so special. Like, when you hear this
It
kind of
is.
fan feedback, how does that make you feel?
Amazing. I mean, and that's what it's all about. It's that's who you do it for. You're this vessel and you have this gift, and it's really truly about those type of people. And honestly, when people understand you and connect with you, it's like the biggest win, you know? And that's all you want as an artist, to connect, for me at least. And so it really warms my heart. And I swear, like, my fans are, I hate calling them fans. I feel like my friends, they're like the nicest, kindest people. Like, they just seem very, very kind. And I'm lucky. I don't have like a lot of haters online. So I mean, or, and if I do, I block you. Bye.
Well, you know what? It's because that you have a very special way to connect to people, and I think that that is a superpower.
Thank you.
I want to ask you about your performance of Lady Gaga's hit "Remember Us This Way" that you did on The Voice. You dedicated it to your cousin Mac. Tell us about the significance of this performance.
Yeah, I wanted to wait to do this performance. I took a risk because I wanted to have the full grand piano. And but for me, it was about telling the story about my family and bringing him back to life. And it was the week that my mom and dad were able, like, they came for the semifinals and stayed. And so it was just a really emotional moment because, you know, I got to tell the story of both my grandfather and my cousin Mac, which are both struck. Both, we think my grandfather died of glioblastoma. It wasn't diagnosed, but Mac really, he was an incredible human and what he had to go through. And then he ended up doing the last 3 years of his life. He did all the trials for at Dana Farber, and for him to not selfishly take that time and give should just give you that testament of how incredible of a human he is. And so for me, it was just a special moment to also just talk about glioblastoma. It is so much more talked about now than even it was like 2 years ago, and how young people are getting cancer and everything. So that's obviously a charity and something for me that I want to I dive into more and more and more, because once you get diagnosed, there's really no hope still. So we'll see, fingers crossed, but it's definitely in my family. And we still don't know if it was genetic, or most of the time it's not. I think it's like 10%, but there's just so much about this that we need to learn and know, and how we can be proactive versus reactive.
Well, and for you to put a spotlight on that and make people that are families that are suffering through this not feel so alone, that your family has suffered through it as well. Like, there's community in that. And I think
Yeah.
that makes a big difference for people that
Yeah.
are just having a hard time.
Yeah,
So,
I'm trying to find ways to be proactive, even though the fact that our cell phones with the radiation and stuff, it's real, I mean, and because I'm going, how does a super healthy young 30-year-old get this type of cancer? And it's happening everywhere. And so there needs to be regulations and funding and things like that should be already inputted into our phones so that we're protected. So don't ever put your phone up to your ear, period. But get those little stickers at least. But I'm not crazy at all.
well, let's change gears a little bit here and talk about your music and your songwriting process. Was country music always your first love, or do you enjoy singing other styles as well?
I definitely am a person that's so influenced by so many, but I really grew up on like Janis Joplin, Bonnie Raitt, Eva Cassidy, Carole King. very much the soul side. It's not about a genre for me. It's truly about like this authentic connection. And it really does come down to the song for me. Country music has always had this heartwarming place. And at the time, I just feel when I was at Berklee College Music and then I transferred to Belmont was because Cheryl Crow and like Jewel and a lot of people started doing country albums. And it just seemed like where I authentically fit was in this genre. So, but for me, this record that's coming out, it's very Americana. And of course, it's soulful and it has all of the things that influenced me, but it's really about the story. We wrote 80 songs in 5 months. I have a 7-time Grammy Award winning producer named Ross Hogarth who came to the table and produced it, and he's incredible. And he's worked with people like Joel. And then I wrote a ton in Muscle Shoals with, several writers out there because it has that soulful Southern thing that just embodies me. And I wrote a ton in Austin, Texas as well. And then, in Nashville. But a lot in Muscle Shoals, a lot. And it was cool. I mean, sometimes I was writing at Fame Studios where, the famous like Aretha tracks were there and the Rolling Stones, and we're just sitting there writing. It's a museum, but yet we're sitting there actively writing. And I thought, it's so inspiring. And, I have so much respect for all the people that have recorded there, in history. So
Kind
it
of a
was a
little
really cool place.
kind of a little magic dust being in the space probably
I
too.
hope. I hope.
So what first inspired you to start writing songs? Like, do you remember the very first song that you wrote? And if you do, what was it about?
Oh my gosh. This wasn't good, but I remember getting my guitar. I think I was 10 and I had some bullies in middle school, and I would go downstairs and my very first song was Everybody Hurts, and it was just the drama. But I think from the reason I started to write was because of things I was dealing with. It was therapeutic. So naturally, it was therapeutic for me before, I was just drawn to that. It's not like someone said, "Oh, you should write a song." No, I just walked downstairs, started playing, you know.
What is your process for writing? Like, do the lyrics or melody come first, or how do you begin, or does it differ depending on what the motivation is for the song?
I think it really depends on who you're writing with. I mean, sometimes, and we did not do it this way, but you can write with track guys, and they're probably going to be making the song as you're going through. For this record, especially with Ross, he said, and I agree. I'm old school. I came to this town in Nashville where a song should be able to live as a work tape, and I also believe if you're as a producer, I would rather have like a flat line of a guitar vocal so that no other production is influencing where the record should go, like musically. So with this record, for me, it was truly about what I needed to say. And so we really did start from the lyrics, most importantly, that they were all written incredibly well. Ross is really tough. I mean, he became my A&R over my label, and he pushed me to do better and better. I think I rewrote 20 songs, which, so these were songs that typically in Nashville you're going to write 3 to 4 hours. These songs took about 8. I mean, like a lot. And finally I go, I'm completely brain dead. Like I have nothing in me. And he goes, good. I was waiting for you to say that. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, you got 2 records here. I'm like, oh, Ross. He was like, I truly, I go, I got nothing. I've said it all. And he goes, good. I was waiting for that. I'm like, oh,
I love that. Oh my gosh. But now you've got 2 albums written,
what's
potentially.
so crazy though, I was in Muscle Shoals. Me and Gary Nichols wrote 2 days, and both those 2 songs, the very, very last 2 songs, made the album.
Do we have a title for this album yet?
We do. I haven't announced it yet. Should I? Can I say it?
Can you?
Should I say
Yes.
it?
Can you
I'm
give us
just
an
gonna go ahead
exclusive?
and say it. Okay. It is called Laced. It's one
Yes.
of the songs on the album. I have been wearing lace as a teaser for the last 3 months for this for my first exclusive listen tour. I've been teasing the lace, and but truly the reason I chose this as the title for the embodiment is my life is truly laced with, a lot of ups and downs, perseverance, love, gone, come, went. Also the song is pretty much on point with I just went through a breakup of my engagement and somebody that I thought was an entirely different human at like the way that person turned. And I mean, wow. So these songs have such a deep rooted, you know pain, but also like there's a lot of love and also a lot of faith. And I feel like people will really connect with this on a very vulnerable way. But yeah, it's the title laced is really I think just embodies so much. And the fabric of lace also is a very storytelling material, and it lasts, it perseveres, but yeah, it is delicate, just like our hearts, just like who I am. So it's meant to be taken care of and not abused. So yeah, this record, it's going to be very very emotional.
I know that, songwriting really is incredibly personal, and I know you probably can't pick a favorite, but I am wondering if there is a song that you are most proud of or has special significance to you. And it doesn't have to be this album, it can be, but it could be anything in your repertoire.
Hmm. There's a song called American Sky. I'm gonna go with this one, but they're all my little babies. American Sky is the one song on the record that isn't really about like love or faith. This song touches the issues that I believe in our world and our country that should be bipartisan, like very much. And it's American Sky is this embodiment of like a mother looking down all over these things. And it's a really well written song in my opinion, and it says so much, and it's truly to push like a united front on things, on issues that shouldn't be one side or the other.
I love that. That's beautiful. Now, regarding like your vocal prowess, when did you know that there was something special about your singing voice? Like, was there a moment, like, were you performing in a school concert or you were in church somewhere? Like, when was it that you're like, you know what? I'm pretty good at this.
I don't know. I do know that when I reach different things in my voice, there's definitely these moments of like spiritual vibe that I just take off, and it's always live. Like I just go there. And then once I know, like I've done it, it's like I unlock it and I mentally know how to do it. And I swear it's like divine intervention because I'm so emotionally charged or something that I go there. And it's weird. It just there's different moments that it happens. Like that whistle tone, I didn't even know I had until like my 20s. So and it was because I was live and I was just obviously in a moment, and it just took off. And then I was like, oh, I can do this. But I
So it's not
think
like your 5 octave range like had to be developed. It sort of just manifested at various points, it sounds like.
yes, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. It's a weird thing. And I would say to when did I know like I was good at this? I just think my parents were super supportive. Like I really, really loved it. And they kept, nurturing all these different opportunities. And I was, like I said, I just never stopped. I just kept going. Still doing that.
There you
They're like,
go.
this girl just won't quit. Um, no, I absolutely I'm very blessed to get to do what I'm doing, and I hope I get to do it the rest of my life for sure.
Audiences obviously do know you from The Voice, but you, as you mentioned, you are a seasoned performer. You've been doing this a long time, and you've opened for such artists as like Luke Bryan and Jake Owen and Kane Brown. What have you learned from touring with these artists?
What have I learned? What haven't I learned? To be honest, I would say the biggest influence when I first started touring, I was actually a utility player. So I was playing mandolin, acoustic guitar, and singing backgrounds for an RCA artist that landed the opening slot for Reba. And it was Reba and her team that took me under her wing, still do, and like truly taught me like how to be in arenas. Also, like I remember Cause at the time, he was the monitor coordinator and he would let me sit side stage and he showed how he was like talking to Reba because I had never used in ears. And then the band also, they started recording with me, writing with me. Anytime Reba had like a rehearsal, they're like, you can come and hang and just like watch. I would say they were so influential because that way I could really see all the ins and outs of its entirety and the things, but also how she treated people. How incredible, where my situation, I wasn't being treated very well. But she treated everybody incredible. So, and it just, I admired that. I was like, you are the queen of country music and you could be a complete, whatever, and you're not. And I just so admired that.
Well, all of this amazing experience that you have learned from people like Reba and everyone else has, led for you to be able to perform at some pretty amazing places. And, I'm curious what your most memorable performance has been so far.
It has to be my Opry debut at the Ryman Auditorium because I was able to, bucket list those twice, like two bucket lists in one night. But for me, it wasn't even just about the show. It was 17 years in Nashville. I had been passed on by the Opry twice. So to finally get that, and I wasn't even home from The Voice yet. It was like 3 days after the finale. And I needed that. Like I really needed it. And that night was so special. Everything Vince said to me, and I didn't even know. He surprised me at the. I'm like dancing side stage, huge Vince Gill fan, and he saw that I was dancing, and he like has me come back on the stage, and it ends the show, and he even said, "I know everybody in this auditorium is here for Morgan," and everybody in my life, they just really showed up, and like songwriters that I had written with for years, they're sitting there crying. And it was just such a moment of a lot of hard work and perseverance. And it was like that testament of like, just keep going. Cause I needed that. I needed that sign from God. Like, should I be doing this still? Like, you know, it's just it's a massive motivator, and I don't think these younger people understand the biggest gift of the Opry like that. Like it's a 10-year town. I've been here for 20, and when you get that opportunity, it's just your heart is so full. I mean, for me, I was like, wow. So I just feel so blessed to be part of the Opry family now and get to play it. And it's such a magical moment. It's such a great feeling.
I can only imagine. I have actually been to the Ryman Theater, and it really is just an amazing place. So, congratulations to you. That is
It's got
truly
all
an
the good
honor.
vibes. Yes, the
Indeed.
mother
It's
church.
so special.
Yeah, it is.
You perform over 100 shows per year. We were talking about how busy your travel schedule has been. It's got to be tough being on the road as much as you are. I'd like to know when you're not working. Like, what do you like to do to try to, unwind and like find your reality again,
I
your
know.
life?
It's crazy. I love just being on the lake with my parents and my dog, and I love being outside, and I love working out. And like I said, I will always do a spa day when I'm on the road. But really, I live on the lake, and me and my parents, we get up, we go water skiing and everything like that. So I just love anything water. I don't know what my parents did to me when I was young, but water. We've always lived pretty much on lakes and stuff. So I think that's why it's just such a great, like, and that's what we're going to do today. So I'm really excited because it's our first day out.
Well, and you've been traveling just so much that I'm sure little home time is going to feel awfully good.
Yeah.
Morgan, as we close today, what do you hope that listeners take away from your music? What do you want them to take?
I want them to feel understood, that they're not alone. I want them to relate to me and feel like they've got a confidant in this music, and that it makes them want to come out because they feel that authenticity that I have been through these things as well. And we're not alone. We're truly not alone. God gave us each other to love one another and to help get through what life is, what we call life, because it ain't easy.
It's not easy. But I think that your music is going to help everyone feel better about life. And thank you so much for being with us today on Sidewalks Entertainment. We so appreciated your time and hearing your story, and we hope to have you back again some other time soon.
You're so sweet. Anytime. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Morgan. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.